Thank you. My name is Mourine Atizuyo. I'm a project officer for Youth-Led Empowerment Initiative in Rice West Nile. True, women have been empowered in various aspects. Particularly, I'm going to talk from the perspective of persons with disability empowerment. It has been a lot of challenge, but I personally, being a person with disability, I've been empowered. Right now, as I'm speaking with you, I'm a project officer at Rice West Nile. I'm handling a project called Youth-Led Empowerment Initiative, where we empower adolescent youths, both in refugee settlement and host, where even dropout and teenage mothers. Basically, we're empowering persons with disability economic-wise and having improved their self-esteem. And being empowered through education, and that aspect of education is very important because most cases in our various communities, people tend to see persons with disability as of no value. They don't hold much value because probably someone does not walk, someone is a little bit paralyzed. But I'm urging the community to support persons with disability to go to school, to get empowered and to be self-sustained. They should be self-independent, and economic-wise they should be independent so that they're able to support themselves, likewise their family members. There are hindrances, particularly from the perspective of how they view you as a person with disability, as a woman, but it has been a tug of war to prove, even in the aspect, or let me say in the sector for employment sector, it is hard to get persons with disability employed. And that is one thing that we who are persons with disability particularly am advocating for, that these other local NGOs or national NGOs or international NGOs, they preach a lot about empowering persons with disability, but you don't see the action that they take to employ persons with disability. There are very few organizations like Rice West Nile who take the initiative and put the policies that they put on ground into action. Like now empowering me, that I'm a project officer, and it's very rare. If you do a research, you'll find it's very rare for persons with disability to be a project officer. Either you're going to be a project assistant or they pack you in an office. They don't let you explore your potentials just because they feel like you're limited, or you cannot exercise, or you cannot go to field on bike because they feel you're persons with disability, not knowing that they're limiting your potential and your abilities. You know, it is so disheartening that a man comes and then impregnates a woman who is having an impairment, and literally this person needs help. You in that part, or when you are in the act, you don't think of the disability or the impairment this person had. But when now this person conceives, then you start saying, I don't think my family members would accept someone with impairment like you. I don't need that. But I'll advise that if you're going for someone, you go genuinely and respect. There's no one who wants to be impaired, but it is the circumstance under which you find yourself that you're impaired. But that said, there's a saying that goes that disability is not inability. Someone may be physically impaired or mentally impaired or visually impaired, but has the ability to do other things with the support of people who are around them. They just need a little aid to support them to get to where they want to reach. So I'm advising people should respect persons with disability. If you feel you cannot accommodate this person for the rest of your life, you let the person go free, rather than making them live more miserable lives. I wasn't born like this. I got an accident when I was on a pitch. I was playing netball, so eventually it turned into tumor, so they had to amputate my leg. Yeah, I was very young by then, but it has been a tough time to say, coping up in school. You know, before you've been able to do everything on your own, and now you cannot do anything. You literally need everyone's support. But the beautiful thing about being impaired is when you accept that this is me, it has happened, and there's absolutely nothing I can do about it, and I cannot change anything, and I just have to embrace it, and then I live with it. And when you accept that, everything becomes normal. Literally, you see your potentials being released, and you start living just the way any other person lives. And most cases, people think disabilities or people with impairment, literally everyone is impaired. Some people are impaired mentally, or your perspective, you're impaired based on your perspective, because you think you see someone physically impaired, and then you say, this person cannot. Your reasoning alone has impaired you already. You're becoming impaired. But my story is like, I don't like going back, because it is something I don't live for. I don't live in the past. I live in the present, and that is how I live. And it has made me who I am. It has made me a strong person, a very focused person. I always know what I want, and I go for it. And when I go for it, and I always make sure I achieve it. That is how I've been living my life. But one thing I have to tell people is that always love yourself, regardless whether you have impairment or you don't have. Love yourself and live each day as if it is your last, because you don't know what tomorrow holds. And be humble. Being humble doesn't hurt, and humility begets respect. I got the accident in primary 5. Yeah, I was in primary 5, and I was playing in a school netball team. That's when I got the accident. My story is a little bit complicated. I lost my dad 1 year down the road, and then they amputated my leg. That is how hectic and a little bit disturbing it was. But by God's grace, and I always tell people, in anything that you do, regardless, whether it is sorrow, whether it is happiness, put God first. Anything, whether it is, always put God first before you wake up. Even if you wake up from your bed, before stepping your foot on your floor, thank God. It's a miracle. And always trust in Him. Whatever that comes your way, God cannot put an obstacle before you that He knows you cannot handle. He always gives you that strength. And He knows when He's putting this before you, He knows that you have the strength to overcome the challenge that He is putting before you. But most cases, people tend to take the shortcut to either they commit suicide, or they do this and that, because they feel they cannot manage. But trust me, when you put your trust in God, everything is possible. It's always good to balance work with home issues. But for us, persons with disability, we will always need a helping hand. But how you handle a helping hand also matters. And then we are talking about Women's Day, but we have been empowered as women. However, the men that we are being with have not been empowered as much as we have been empowered. So that means there is that gap that has been created that needs to be bridged. But my advice is that we should always leave our positions, that is at work, when you are probably a project officer or a manager programs, or you're a meal coordinator or anything, but as a female aspect, you leave that at the gate. When you're going home, just know that you're a wife and a mother, and you need to take that responsibility. And respect is very important in homes. And when you respect your family members, particularly your spouse, it gives him peace of mind. You don't face that much challenge. Depression is real, but learn to share. If you share a little bit and go for counseling, don't die in your own movie. I know in the world we are living right now, people tend to take everything onto social media. You find when you see people's statuses, you view how people write things, you see a lot of depression. But instead of putting it on a social media, you get someone whom you trust and you share with that person. And this person can be able to help you. So learn to share with the person you feel you can share, and the one you trust. You share. Don't die in depression. There are centers where you can go for counseling, go and attend, and be able to get out of the stress and depression. My mother is one person. She has been like my pillar. She's a strong woman. She has gone through a lot, but she has been able to educate us. As 4 girls, we are here. That lady is my pillar, and I look up to her. And then there's one, she's my mentor, Comfort. Yeah, she's my mentor, and I always look up to her.